All good animation is built on a set of fundamental principles, things like squash and stretch, anticipation, follow-through and overlapping action. But when it comes to animation in video games, there is one additional principle that doesn't exist in any other medium. You might not know what it is, but you've definitely felt it before. And that's called Hitstop. Let's start by defining what Hitstop is. In the most technical sense, Hitstop happens when you freeze an animation at a point of impact. This is typically used in games with melee combat, and it uniquely only happens to the player character. Not every game employs the use of Hitstop in their combat, and in fact not every fighting game uses Hitstop either. Like any other principle of animation, Hitstop is a tool, and the extent of its use will change from game to game. When used improperly, Hitstop can actually be a detriment to gameplay, slogging down the pace of combat with frequent pauses. That said, there are many ways to use Hitstop to enhance the feel of animation through gameplay. Video games are an interactive medium. More so than that, video games are a tactile experience. Not only do games engage players through visuals and audio, but the act of pressing buttons in a video game is a source of tactile feedback. Video games have the advantage of engaging 3 out of 5 human senses at once. And until the horrifying day that games figure out how to engage our sense of smell and taste, this is a unique advantage video games will always have. So how does a video game make us feel physicality? That's where Hitstop comes in. By freezing an animation at the point of impact, those few extra frames of Hitstop registers to us that we've connected a hit. Multiple hits in succession with multiple frames of Hitstop will start to create a rhythm. This use of Hitstop forms a tangible tempo that helps the player follow the action button by button. That's why it feels so good to press buttons in an anime game. It may not be technically accurate for animation to be constantly pausing and breaking, but applying Hitstop in this way sacrifices visual accuracy for physical responsiveness. There's a similar principle in old kung fu movies. The choreography of these fights is measured and rhythmic, and while it may not feel natural or realistic, it provides a tempo that allows a viewer to follow along with the fight visually. The same thing happens in fighting games, where both players can pay attention to long strings of attacks and decide their course of action based on the flow of battle. If the tempo is there, then both players can follow it, and the battle becomes a sort of dance, which I personally think is exciting and great. So, if Hitstop adds tempo and rhythm to the sensory feedback of combat, then how about we
drop the bass?
It's possible to use Hitstop in a way that controls the weight and impact of a hit in order to increase the sensory feedback it provides to the player. Some hits are fast and light, which should provide only small taps of feedback, but some hits are just pumped, full of 800% raw
Unga.
And sometimes you can be looking at a whole second of Hitstop to really sell that impact to you. If anything, this is the only form of Hitstop used in fully 3D games like Tekken or DOA by use of a very extreme slow motion feature. I don't really have a more scientific way to explain it, so I'll just show you some comparisons of hits with and without Hitstop and see if you can feel the difference. I can best demonstrate this with Painwheel from Skullgirls. Painwheel has several moves in which she hits you with a fast spinning blade. When the move whiffs, the wheel spins at fast velocity, as it should. However, when the wheel hits, there are actually extra frames of animation drawn to show each individual blade stopping and hitting as the blade spins. Normally, a character with some sort of spinning attack would simply let the attack continue spinning. But the design notes for Painwheel specified to have these extra drawings for each time the wheel hits, with a hit stop for each individual hit to emphasize how hard these blades are shredding into their foe. The hit stop in this animation turns an otherwise ordinary saw attack into something vicious and painful. A good chunky hit stop does more than just make a hit feel big or painful, it makes a hit feel important. It highlights a turning point in a game, it raises the stakes, it becomes the defining strike of the whole match. A good hit stop creates drama, and lets both players know that this game just got real. And that's often why you see these dramatic hit stops attached to high-stakes mechanics. Counter hits, crush counters, lethal smashes, lethal hits, crushing blows, power blows, rage drives, landing a raw heavy attack. But if you want to see the most dramatic hit stops in action, look no further than Lethal League.
Yeah, we're getting there. Mike! Yeah! Yes! Yeah!
That's all for today's A.B.I.torial. I hope you all find this as interesting as I do. Be sure to give this video a like and leave a comment with your thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit stop the notification bell for more anime and game content from SugarPunch. Now, I know I say it all the time, but our channel really is supported entirely by our Patreon because trying to make money from YouTube is impossible. And it's especially important now more than ever that we could use your support to keep this channel going in this dystopian quarantine nightmare reality so we can continue talking about anime and video games for your entertainment. If our dumb little videos are in any way helping you all stay sane, then that's more than worth it. I'm A.B.I., and I'll see you next time.